Carlson?
Here.
Aye.
Here.
Rivers? President Clooney?
Here. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a motion for the approval of minutes. The motion for approval of minutes for regular meeting and finance committee on March 18th and 19th, 2026.
Carlson?
Aye.
Aye.
President Clooney?
Aye.
You want to introduce yourself or no?
I think you know.
Yeah. And Kathy is on for agenda number 9.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome.
A couple of my penetrates are going to be just like
Okay.
so they're going to
Approval of the agenda.
they won't have any.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Commissioner comments, I'll say that by going on a project, everything developing was very nice to see we're going into spring. It's really, with, staff and, park also, the park's been getting a lot of activity. Travel park got soon kicked off, a little bit more going on side, down, travel soon do it. And, but still gonna make my regular trips down there to see what we have and try to see what we can develop as we move forward. That is the community. That's just let more people know what's about.
I attended yesterday's concert. I was surprised how many people attended. It was nice talking to a couple people. It was really nice down there.
Right, my first I've known about it, but I haven't, across the street. I was, and very well organized, and 2 minutes of my life for a giant sucking sound.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the parks too. I see, like so many parks here being used. Basketball is always popular, pickleball and other things, and then both, all of the different. I think in the trailer park now, I see that more often. It's just nice to see the age differential and how many of the areas are being used. So it really doesn't seem like it's one place only that's trying. People are coming in, it's just a lot to do. I think that's kind of fun. And I like our new sign out there. It's very nice, very bright.
It looked good. I tried my favorite a lot. I'm like, where I was 20 years ago. Yes. I was a kid where I was on film about 18, 19, 20 till 11 o'clock at night. I think I played softball.
Very childlike.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to know that.
Progress, I worked on.
Thanks.
Moving on, we'll, go to the attorney's report.
No report from the attorney this evening.
I make a motion to approve the park district expenditures for March $436,000, $136,526.
I do.
There's no questions on that.
Morrison?
Aye.
Is it good this report?
Yep, so we had a lot of great stuff going on in March. Up on the screen there, you can see that rec staff attended the career day on March 11th at Shiloh Middle School to talk with students, and they also attended a job fair on March 26th at the Zion Public Library. So I think it's always nice when our staff are out in the community and, also partnering with the other taxing bodies to engage the community and the younger kids. For the first time ever, our fitness studio director, Lance Barnes, has reported that we reached 20,000 daily visits in a single month for the fitness studio downstairs. You can see these are calendar year numbers, but you can see what a great year 2025 has been, and already off to a great start in March of 2026. So really getting a lot of great usage down there. Here's the split which we've been keeping track of just to make sure if you can see those numbers. Non-resident monthly members about 296, resident members 276, and the City of Hope 247. So that is a pretty good and even split, and we don't feel like which we talked about, that it's overwhelmed the capacity of bringing City of Hope on. So it has been a positive. For us. The rec department did conduct the St. Patrick's Day special event in the sports arena. It had about 47 kids attend. They set up a bunch of different blow-up games and a bunch of things for the kids to do. So as we, kind of move into the summer, the 2026 concert series is set. Christine's working hard on that, early in the fall, honestly. So Thursday nights from late June through early August, we'll have great concerts again.
But with Labor Day, it's not going to be from the concert series. We moved it to Labor Day weekend, Thursday before Labor Day.
Okay.
Part of the Labor Day festivities.
Mine, I don't miss.
No, that's fine. Anytime, ask a question. So, as Commissioner Pye mentioned, Senior Resource Expo was yesterday with a great turnout. Shepherd's Crook has the Spring Scramble coming up, which is a tournament or an outing on May 2nd. I was told by the staff today that that's already full. We've got a waiting list started for it. Our junior golf camp will be in the second season. We started this for the first time last year, so they've got plans pretty much worked out already for junior golf camp in June, and then they're going to do a second round this year targeting some of the older kids, more of the high school level players. A new program that Rec was working on called Celebrating Diversity Through Dance is going to be hosted at the Shiloh Center. I know we have a flyer on it, which I think is a really cool idea. So Unity in the Community is what it's called, and we're partnering with, the Buzz Coalition along with, the township and the library. And the idea, and if you have more questions, obviously Kay and Christine can answer the questions specifically for you on it, but it's just a mix of, soul dancing, Latin, and country line dancing. And it's a free program, right, to the community. So it should be fun. Oh, I also wanted to point out the last page of the flyer, which I also kind of wrote a little bit about in my report. The Start Early, the EduCare Center of Lake County, that's under construction, although the construction site's kind of underwater at this point, but They're anticipating to have a groundbreaking ceremony on May 11th, which is a Monday actually, at 10:30. So if any of the park board is interested, I'm happy to RSVP for you. I don't know exactly what the details are in the event. We just received their invitation.
Don't forget then, I would.
Okay, sure. So
give
I'll.
the secretary when they're-
Yeah, and so this is the last page of the packet. So I'll RSVP for Doug. It's no charge, so if you're on the fence, I can go ahead and push on.
I believe
Okay. Dave, do you think you might be making? You might be working. I know it's a Monday.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I have another appointment. I might be able to.
Okay.
I would think it's important.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tentatively bring that up.
Yeah, I'll RSVP for you as well. In March, and I think I may have sent the board kind of more when this happened, some of the trees that were damaged in windstorms. This is along Edina, so Doug, you probably, you did see that, but an uprooted oak tree after severe winds. A couple little shots on David Park here. These are kind of the minor details that we're working on at this point, where these irrigation supply lines, were covered by this stone bench, and Rich will remove these wires and catch them all there. But that kind of turned out nice. It's just something functional to cover these. Here, as Rich had mentioned too, this is the Shiloh Pool bathhouse. So we repainted it and did the floors with like an epoxy coating to give it a nice fresh new look. I think that turned out great. These are the kind of things that we're able to accomplish when we're able to get better revenue than we anticipated in a year. So that really looks sharp, and we're going to get some new benches for it. Yeah, there's two. We just bought two because we wanted to see them, but these are the benches that will be. Yeah, it's nice and clean.
What's that?
That's the Shiloh Pool bathhouse right over there, the outdoor pool. Yeah. Shepherd's Crook did open on March 28th. I mean, if you all recall, we had a couple nice days there where it was actually dry and sunny. So both Shiloh and Shepherd's were open for a few days in March. Obviously, they've been closed lately, and we closed through this weekend just because there's just so much water out there. The course is really not playable. But I included this in the board packet too. Alan gives some, just some of the early spring maintenance that they're doing out there. Cutting it. The first time they were able to cut it was March 26th. Just put a decent cut on it, and then he shows like what can happen. This is kind of like some dehydrated conditions out there due to the high winds and stuff. So then they'll work on those, to get the course in shape. But he did have this nice review, which I included the email from the gentleman. This guy's kind of an avid golfer and in the golf industry, and he just complimented Alan and our golf staff on what a great condition the course was in, in March.
Did they fix the green?
Did they fix which?
The green.
What was wrong with it? Oh, that I think that I don't know if that was a green.
That was the green.
Oh yeah, so I mean, he'll work on that with his fertilizers and stuff like that. Yeah, this is the only green. They said this is the only green that presented a condition.
Much recovery has already occurred.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
during the process.
Yep. But I mean, other than that, like was already mentioned, we had the Easter egg hunt on April 4th. I know we're kind of leading into April there, talking about stuff, but the Easter egg hunt was great. As we mentioned too, the LED sign is up and functioning out front, which I think looks really great. David Park officially opened on the 21st of March. Yeah, we will have a grand opening, so we've tentatively got it planned for June 13th, which is a Saturday. We're working still with our contractor though. There's some punch list items, and some still minor details to be worked out. So that's the tentative date. I have a meeting, and Rich and I have a meeting with our contractor on Wednesday and our landscape architect on Wednesday, and so we'll get a better feeling of the timeline for them to be able to complete their work. There's a decent amount of plantings and stuff that need to be dug out and replanted because they died. And some other cleanup
Was it
stuff.
pictures side by side when it happens? Ribbon cutting?
Yeah, I do. Well, you guys were all in that picture, and Cheryl was still on the board then.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
on you to kind of fun to see how long it took. Which you know, a lot of projects want forever.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was a long one, but it was a major transformation. So that's all really for my report.
Thank you. Travelers, the staff, did an amazing job. Went into the new business.
Kathy is here. Did you get my last email? I wasn't able to get your PDF to open. And we have the easel there. Oh, okay. Or we can hold it. I mean, I can stand up and open.
This wall's open.
Do you want Rich and I to each hold a side, or Christina and I to hold a side?
We grab that side, I'll grab this side.
That. And in front of the TV over there.
This was Kendall Winter's idea. And then Belinda and I need to hold that. This is a graphical representation of Hosa Park and its hydrological conditions. This is Shiloh Boulevard here, Fulton, the pathway, and the areas in blue are wetter areas. The areas in red are highlands, and this is Lake Michigan. I'm going to mention the transects that Jim Steffen and Kendall Winter put in that are study plots. The map was created digitally in some very complex software that I don't understand by Belinda of Lake County. So,
Okay, thank you.
Board President Hay, Director Eric Bradley, Hay, Commissioners. It's my honor to stand before you today. Volunteer part. Marilyn Krieger, 10 years ago. What we've learned is this wonderful quote I saw this week from the National Geographic. Small actions can create extraordinary change. Pollinators teach us this lesson every day. In fact, a single bee might visit hundreds of flowers in a day, each tiny stop helping sustain entire landscapes and food systems. Individually, each act seems small, but together they shape the future of our planet. It reminds me of Mother Teresa's words, "Do no great things, only small things with great love." Now, a little disclaimer, my master's is in theology. If anybody is offended by that, raise your hand. You're going to get a little theology from me today, sorry. So you probably want to know why do we do this work? Why do we come out every month, sometimes several times a month, to restore the natural areas of the park? We do it out of respect. We do it out of respect, reverence for the site, and certainly out of love. Evan and Paula here are my co-conspirators in this work, and there are several of others that couldn't make it today. They've invited lights in our research. It's a really meaningful, impactful thing that somebody can do, or a group of people can do at a time when so many things seem like out of our reach or out of our sphere of control. It's also community building, and it's educational. As we work, people stop and thank us, and some people have even joined our work days. One person actually told us something that I thought was very significant, that this was, the Hosa Park was where Dr. John Dowie had his members of his church process down Shiloh Boulevard for full immersion baptism. So it's really a spiritually significant site, and there's a lot of community memory about that. But there's also, in the almost 23 acres of an extraordinary biological diversity. As of this year, we have found over 415 species of vascular plants, that is to say, not mosses like this, 54 species of lichens, and 237 species of birds. Posa is its own bird site. In the entire Chicago, actually the entire state of Illinois, according to Dr. Gerald Wilhelm, I'll talk about a little bit, who is the senior author of Flora of the Chicago region, which I forgot. It's this thick. It weighs 11 pounds. Floristic Bible, all the plants that we have naturalized in the Chicago region. There is no other 23-acre natural area in the entire state of Illinois that has comparable natural quality to any part of it. These plants that live within the site are so rare because there's really no other place for them to live. With temperature extremes in the sand from 20 degrees below zero to over 150 degrees Fahrenheit, the surface of the sand in summer, these plants are survivors that we should admire. We hear about protecting the rainforest, and indeed we should, but protecting Posa as a key microcosm of the region's biodiversity is just as important. After Posa nearly succumbed to a prospective plan for a marina, which ended up being located in Harbor, in 1989, Zion Park District Executive Director, right, Bob Fisher, Superintendent of Parks, hired Dr. Wayne Shunem to inventory and support for Illinois Nature Preserve dedication. The subsequent 1990 Randy Hydorn report argued for National Natural Landmark designation for Hosa, the adjoining North Dunes Nature Preserve area of Illinois Beach State Park, and even the adjacent power plant property north of Sheridan Road. These are all incredibly high quality areas. Both of these studies point to the site's great importance as a state and even nationally recognized natural area. Dr. Shunem identified 155 species of plants at Posa in 1989 over 2 field visits. And those were all species I know fairly well by now, but there are others that really require the experience of a specialist. Botanist Linda Curtis had done a study of the sedges of Posa, but there are many other really much more obscure species there, according to early collections in the area, which needed an even more expert eye. Since becoming steward of Hosa, we've added almost 200 species to Shunem's list, but we knew that there were others that eluded our skill set. Dr. Wilhelm agreed to collaborate on this important project since there were no other botanists in our region with the skills and experience, besides in 2015, Hosa Prairie was awarded, along with the other 4,000 acres of the Shawaukee Beach Ridge Plain, designation as only 41 Ramsar wetlands of international importance in the entire United States. There's only 3 others in Illinois and 5 in Wisconsin. This was the same year that Lake County Forest Preserve ecologist Ken Quick invited me to assist him in a quest to find a tiny, cute little carnivorous plant, the zigzag bladderwort, that in all the state of Illinois only lives in the Penn. But I also saw invasive buckthorn there. After our foray, I called the Zion Park District, who I learned owned Hosa Park, and put in touch with them. We set up a time to meet with my hoping she would let us help out some manner. Karen Tharp, who worked for the Nature Conservancy, was able to find Dr. Wayne Shunem's report. Tom Gimnish, botany professor from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, came down for a day to teach me about the plants and animals of the area. Turns out Hosa Prairie in Zion was Zion's best kept secret, except for the botanists who saw it as a living laboratory of regional biodiversity. Dr. Marlon Bowles from Norton Arboretum used Hosa Park as the first site within Illinois to release Gallagher cellar beetles as an experiment to control the invasive purple loosestrife. He also tried to implement a program to restore the federally threatened butterfly. Hosa is also the home of the state endangered Blandings turtle and one turtle mom in particular named Lake Plain Coalition, sponsored by the Lake County Forest Preserves, the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, and other agencies, has funded, in addition to our volunteer efforts, contractors to work both in Hosa and in nearby areas where invasive species need control. To date, over 2,000 volunteer hours, not including those of the grant, have been contributed to Hosa in restoration efforts and monitoring. The amount of money and time that has been spent on Hosa is because it is genuinely ecologically significant, regionally and nationally. And its Ramsar wetland dedication speaks to its importance internationally as well. What is remarkable about Hosa Prairie is that it's so many things to so many different people. For ancient Americans, it was a natural pharmacy with many plants of medicinal and cultural uses. From the time of Zion's founding, Dr. John Dowling and his church set it aside as a site for their full immersion baptisms, making it a dedicated place of sacred gathering and spiritual refreshment. Nowadays, for some, it's a place to enjoy the cool lakefront with the family and friends or dogs on a hot summer day. For others, it's a space of spiritual quietude. For others, it's a party venue. We even met a young couple one Saturday who were getting married at the pavilion. For scientists and volunteers, it's an education into our region's rare flora and how to preserve and restore it. For people of faith, it's an ongoing revelation of God's love for us and delight in all of His creation right here and now. Hearing of ongoing volunteer work at Rosa, Dr. Wilhelm thought a scientific baseline inventory of this site would be useful, not just to the Zion Park District of Zion, but to regional scientific knowledge as well. Wilhelm states, and I quote, "It represents an authentic internal complexity and beauty that is not rivaled anywhere else in Illinois. Like a compass point always turns to the north, Hosa Prairie turns the eyes and hearts of discriminating people to the wonder of God's creation." In January 2025, with Executive Director Eric Bradley's permission, I applied to the Illinois Native Plant Society for a research grant to cover a small honorarium for Dr. Wilhelm and any other related expenses for the project. Eric has sent you all the report that Dr. Wilhelm and I compiled from last year's work in Hosa Prairie. So using the online consortium of Midwestern area, we identified a number of well-known botanists, the earliest being Dr. Frank Caleb Gates in 1909, who made collections from Hosa and its immediate vicinity. The first vouchers made specifying Hosa Park were in 1941 by Morton Arboretum botanist and Wilhelm Smith, Dr. Floyd Smith, author of the first plants in the Chicago region. And he collected that right when he was going off to World War II. He enlisted in the Navy. Last look for an uncertain future. Dr. Wilhelm's public outreach component required with the grant was generously supported by the Zion Park District for donating the use of one of its larger meeting rooms, which met its capacity to 80 people for the talk. To implement the research portion of the grant, we recruited a volunteer team of expert botanists to gather transit data, the goal of which will be to measure floristic quality change over time. Jim Steffen from the Chicago Botanic Garden, Zion resident Kendall Winter, one of our more knowledgeable plantsmen in Northern Illinois, Melinda Alberti and Ken Quick from the Lake County Forest Preserves, Kimberly Hansen and Catherine Hoop, ecologists from the Field Museum, and two of our regular volunteers, Evan and Paul. Jim and Kendall established 4 study transects, one just north of the cable fence in Illinois Beach State Park, with permission and 3 in Hosa. Each transect was monitored 3 times during the growing season by 2 of our lead botanists, Jim and Kendall, who were Dr. Wilhelm, the scientist Field Museum, Kendall, Jim, Evan, Paul, and I focused on obtaining herbarium vouchers over 4 full weekends and a few supplemental visits. With Dr. Wilhelm's guidance, we were able to discover many additional species beyond what Dr. Sheridan noted in 1989. Dr. Wilhelm is also a well-regarded lichenologist, and the ones at HOSA were of particular interest for his regional lichen flora. Southern Lake Michigan. He has identified 53 species of lichens within HOSA. For context, he says there are entire counties in Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan that don't have 53 species of lichens. They are indicator species for air quality, and since the early 1970s, they've greatly benefited from the enactment of the Clean Air Act, showing us how humans can live in consilience with nature. Dr. Wilhelm contributed 8 full days out in the field to our research, and many additional hours carefully identified each specimen using microscopy techniques. Our vouchers were placed in the herbarium at Arboretum, which is one of the finest regional collections of flora in the Midwest. Field Museum ecologist Catherine assisted flowering plant herbarium curator Kimberly Hansen to add their vouchers to that institution's world-renowned collection of over 4 million specimens. Each plant is carefully collected, pressed, identified, labeled, and sent to the herbarium, where it is then frozen, mounted, accessioned, digitized, and filed for future botanical study, along with those information. And we only collected plants that we felt would be a sustainable collection. Nothing that was, incredibly rare, because they're good ideas about that. As I said, many of these plants have medicinal values, and herbaria are often the first places scientists go to discover new organic compounds useful to medicine. For example, there are many compounds within lichens that are used to treat cancer. Actually, there was a postdoc from India, Field Museum, to do that study 2 years ago. So why is HOSA vital to our region's ecology? As a microcosm of a much larger Ramsar dedicated land of international importance, it not just nurtures many threatened and endangered species of plants and animals, its small size also offers us a way to study them and provide unique educational opportunities for adults, youth, and children. One of the things that I've been doing the last several years, every year I've been getting a small grant from the Nature Conservancy for art supplies. And so we've had once or twice a year we've had kids come out. Kate has helped with this. Christine helped with getting these kids offered with educational deficits or learning deficiencies out and engaging with nature, and we send them home with art supplies. I received the Julia Kirby grant from the American Society of Artists in 2021, and that also funded art supplies. And we had several art classes at the Zion Benjamin Library as well as the Waukegan Public Library for the ones at Zion Benjamin Library. We had art classes for children, 2 different age levels, and to adults. So we do a lot of outreach in addition to just volunteer, managing the weeds and picking up garbage. People from all over come to HOSA for spiritual refreshment and recreation, maybe intuiting that its great biodiversity is a gift from God, as well as a mandate to keep it in good order. It is home to 6 species of milkweeds, host plants for the iconic monarch butterfly, 8 species of orchids, and there are species of insects within HOSA that are still being studied, but Jim stepped on as possibly new to science. It's really, it's mind-blowing to me that there are people here that are part of our team that know this much and have studied it and find this place sort of like their own little Pokemon playground. for scientific exploration. I've been approached a few times by staff from the Illinois Nature Preserves Commission because they would still love to add Hose Prairie to its list of formally dedicated sites to add an extra level of protection against some future park board that might not have the same understanding of where its gifts as you do. But of course, that's an important decision only you can make. Dr. Chenow's 1989 book report was an effort to argue for a dedication. And I'm sure if he were alive today, he would appreciate the effort our team has put into confirming the supplement of his first report. He did come out to one of my talks at the Zion Library a few years ago. It was basically a report on Rosa and its biological diversity. And it was great. It was great to see that it really has to. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank the Zion Park District, President, Director Bradley, thank all of you, and especially Rich for sending your steadfast folks, the two guys in a truck, to pick up the brush and the bags and bags. I had a PowerPoint sort of set up, but it didn't. It's been. I'm sorry, but trust me, there are bags and bags of garbage. Brush, not so much brush, because we're trying to schedule it with the burns of the sweet clover in the summers. Quite a lot. But maintaining this area is a real joy for us. So I want to just thank you for your support and your steadfast vision and protecting and maintaining this really unique Dunes. It's incomparable. I volunteer at Illinois Beach State Park. There's not a single natural area within Illinois Beach State Park, anything like so. Zion, it's a little concentrated gem. And also to thank the volunteers present.
Yeah, thanks. May I make a comment? So, this isn't just a freak show of exotic, weird looking plants. The point is that it's a habitat that's co-evolved with these rare plants. And when we look at other restoration sites that have not been treated so well and have been plowed over, they can never be recovered to this level. These unique relationships between the land and the plant community is irreplaceable. And if you were to plow it or develop it could never go back. It's unrestorable to this level. And that's why we speak about it with such reverence, about the quality of the plants and what that means about that habitat quality. So, I just wanted to make it real. This is something you can't grow back. Why we trade this.
And there's really no square meter where you can say, oh, well, let's just put a it's there. You have things that are just so rare. So anyway, it's really an honor, it's a privilege to be part of its ongoing life, and it's really one of my happy places. So I just want to thank you.
Thank you for all your efforts. This is very much appreciated. I hope that the board would, if ever, consider this a project that's being considered right now to develop the fund. I do think that there might be some potential for that, but it would never be at the sake of damaging the park for some reason. I do have one question. Some of the information, the historical data that you had, is that being warehoused anywhere other than about the baptisms? Like, is it being shared with the museum?
I don't know, but the stories that I told were from 2 or 3 long-time Zion residents who told me this, and I was like, okay, one person you think, okay, that's, but it was Robert. I actually have been trying to get information through the library, and I haven't. Books at the library about the history of Zion, but I have access to Zion to get to know Zion better, and there's also some archives at the museum, photos, which is very time consuming to go through. But
But if you go, yeah, library and ask them for some of the local books about the history, or if you go across the street and talk to people at City, they probably have some of that history more than.
My question was just to make sure that we are aware of it. These places.
So the report that I sent, that I presented to Illinois Native Plant Society, was actually three reports in one. It was the report that Dr. Wilhelm Mosley wrote, with some generous edits for me. And, uh, and then there was we also appended the Shannon report, and then we also, thank you, Marilyn and Kate for funding that Randy Hydorn report, which was really, really mind expanding. That was like 60 pages. That was in your files. So anyway, so that is, so it, because the and then there's also the technical report, which is really abstruse, Chicago Botanic Garden on like the delineations in the are, which I don't understand, and actually Dr. Wilhelm doesn't understand either, but there are ecologists that done some study in it. I'm not going to ask you to go over that. And there's a complete list of all the plants. I mean, I could have, gone on for hours on all the plants, the plant communities, but I don't think if you want, I'd rather you come out, you're all invited, come out to the site on a nice Saturday, second Saturday, which is when we're usually there. And we'll just talk. I'll give you a tour of the site. I'll show you. It's just beautiful. Every month of the year, there's something else going on.
Kathy, for me, this was your highlight of this meeting. I have the same masters in the same category as you, so you're among friends here. And I appreciate my favorite part, the reasons that you gave. My daughter Sarah is one of your volunteers. Sarah Carlson, she sends her
That's
greetings.
your daughter.
Yep, she sends her greetings and apologies for not being here lately.
That's okay. Oh, I love Sarah.
But I appreciate that your passion is really, and it's nice to have a hosologist who's an expert on these things, and it's such a labor of love. I appreciate that, and I look forward to this time you're going to come. I asked my secretary to print the report. Actually, it is 116 pages. My daughter's going to get a copy of that. So thank you for this, and all of you. And Marilyn, just the connections that are made here through the years and continue is everything that's good about this community and the people that make it. So thank you for that. It's very, very interesting to me. I could count to the hours with everyone else. Thank you.
About 2 weeks, I just what you said tonight. I'm like, I didn't know novel plants down to.
Prickly pear cactus. And then we have pistachio, or Blanding's turtle, and
Picture up there.
right, and Sonia. Sonia is the Blanding's turtle monitor and Jose mom, and she's kind of adopted me as her mom too. She came out she's been coming out for work days and learning about flora. It's really spectacular for Dr. Wilhelm to come out. He likes to stay in his silo. He just likes to stay in his life. But he's, in one couple of moments, we were out there in the field. And these people even know what they, because he has 50 years of experience seeing very natural areas, beautiful natural, just destroyed through neglect or, I think Hosa actually is living its very best.
It's truly a treasure. I think a lot speaks for itself. Like your documentation, explanation plants and species. And I do think that with the general residents, the general public, there's a huge misunderstanding of what it is to live among nature.
Right.
Because everybody thinks about if they have a pot of water, they just put up a make it. And when they pull that away from moving in this proper space in this proper environment. So we got applaud the efforts of trying to. I hope to get out those two sometimes. I'll visit Saturdays.
Yeah, we're there usually second Saturday afternoons. The afternoon or mornings a little. If I try to copy everybody, uh, Commissioner Carlson and Superintendent Churchill, and of course.
Are you guys both receiving that?
I do see it.
Yeah, I do. I get the emails. I blind copy everybody's. Keep email privacy.
We'll get you on there, Jesse.
We'll
add Jesse to your list.
Yeah,
I'll get you his email.
Yeah, that would be great. Because we're out there, happy to give tours. Evan and Paul are very knowledgeable. They made a big investment in this map so that we can talk or plant locations. Talk about their restoration.
Did a field trip with the Waukegan, the highlights.
Yeah, through the Morris Reserve.
That happened a lot there.
Yeah.
Not the staff,
Yeah.
Bugs, whatever. But I'd like to do that sometimes.
I should caution you, one of the things that we didn't talk about is the importance of fire to sustain these ecosystems. Most of it was just burned 3 weeks ago. And so it looks like the far side of the moon right now. And the really fun part is that in a month or two, it all comes roaring back. So, and because all of the stubble has been removed by the fire, the flowers are even more prolific and obvious. So it's a great time to visit, but don't come today.
That looks a little bit like Moonscape. But the lab at Vernon, it actually was really great because the previous work day, we just went out and picked up broken glass, garbage, there was so much. It's got so many personalities. You kind of have to honor that. But people can live in conciliance with nature. I think it's when you have something of this quality, it's almost hubris to say, "Oh, I can do better." But I do want to thank you all publicly for fixing the roof on the shelter because that's kind of our. We should probably not take any more of your time.
No, thank you.
We did it for you.
Do you have any other questions about our work?
I want to say thank you for the presentation. It's very detailed. Quite nice.
For the detail, I mean, there's a lot of getting what they say in the release with the with the report. But I do recommend certainly taking the report in stages and reading about habitat types and homes. But I think it's so much more fun just to be out there and see the birds up in the trees and the turtles. Anyway, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. There's nothing like it anywhere. I've been plants concern monitor for 25 years now at the Chicago Botanic Garden. So I see a lot of really wonderful natural. There's nothing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight.
It's so great to see you. I love you guys.
I appreciate it.
And the Zion Park District, the police.
Yeah, our rangers. Yeah.
Rangers, they're great.
Yeah, they are great.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
One second, next item.
Do we need to provide anything?
No, just an informational presentation.
Very informative too. Glad to have from time to time. I'm on item number 10, concession license for Brother Village to operate the Sheridan Road concession stand in the summer of 2026.
Yeah, so as President Vermain mentioned in the beginning of the meeting, he's ready for the concession stand to open, and Willie has again expressed interest in operating the concession stand. Nobody else has come forward, in the last 3-4 months and say that they have an interest in operating the stand. Willie has always been a great partner for us and just a great ambassador, in the park and talking to kids and as a mentor, in addition to, the food items that he sells that he makes very little money on and things like that. But he's just a positive influence to have in the park. So, on the agenda here we have his concession license for the board to approve for him to again operate in 2026. And so this is the contract that we've been using over the years with Willie. It kind of documents, what his responsibilities are, what ours are. He provides us a certificate of insurance. He has to get inspected by the Lake County Health Department. All those things he has to comply with. But he's been a great person to have out there for us.
Opening date, license.
Yeah, I think we have May 1st. There is a date. Yeah, May 1 through September 30th. Yeah. And so again, Rich and his crew have to do a handful of things to get the stand ready for Willie, as far as just getting the water on, getting some things cleaned up and whatnot.
We have a motion for the approval of the license.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carried. Did we need a specific roll call?
No. Typically, Dave, just financial related things.
A final review of the approval of the park district budget for fiscal year 2026-2027.
Yeah, so, we went through all of our budget session meetings in March. Staff have been working on budgets, since December, January, and things like that to get to those budget session meetings. The only real change that we had, and I sent out that full budget book in a separate email. So I think I really sent 3 emails within about the last week. One was the board packet, one was the budget, and one was the report. So that's the full operating budget book. And the only change would be to property taxes, because from the time that we got had our last budget meeting, then we get the final EAV from the county. This is where the levy process is difficult. We're working off an estimated EAV. But fortunately, our estimate of the EAV came in pretty much right in line with what the county number was. So any tweaks to the property taxes were, for the most part, immaterial. So some of the smaller funds, you're talking less than $1,000, and some of the larger funds, maybe a couple $1,000. But that would be really the only difference for the most part, as from what you saw in what you were presented in March.
Were you able to vote on it then? I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't like it was a change that we had to look at.
No, it was really immaterial. I could go through the exact specifics, but we're talking.
Before you do, why don't we get a motion on it?
Sure.
I make a motion that we approve the park district budget for fiscal year 2026-2027.
second,
Any question on the motion? I apologize. I'm
Yeah, no, that's
just
okay.
trying to get it to happen.
Yeah, I know, right.
Just to make sure, sometimes, if it was a change, we'd have to, no changes can be made tonight.
Right.
Vote on it.
Right. Now, let's say, Doug, for example, the City of Hope's hospital property tax challenge would have shaken out during the time we had our last budget session meeting and tonight. That would obviously be something that we'd have to go through, and we'd say, okay, we're having to decrease property taxes by $400,000, and these are all the different cuts that we're making.
Would
Right.
have to be voted on at another meeting then, or we make the change and vote?
In theory, if it was that significant, so what we're talking about tonight is, again, relatively immaterial, but if it was that significant, we probably would have had a special meeting, honestly. We probably would have had a special meeting.
Also, we've got to table it.
Yeah.
Or to have another meeting to discuss
I just know there's a deadline.
There is. Yeah, for the budget, there is kind of like a sequence of events that has to happen. It starts with budget sessions, and then approval of the operating budget, and then at our May meeting next year, we'll put this start of the fiscal year, at the May meeting, we'll put the budget and appropriation ordinance on file for public inspection. So that is the ordinance that is then filed with the county. Because then we take the operating budget that we approved tonight and we put it in kind of the legal ordinance format. And then we leave it on file for public inspection for 30 days. So assuming there's 30 days between our May and June meeting, we can approve it at the June meeting. If there's not, we have to wait till the July meeting. But your budget has to be approved 3 months after the fiscal year starts and filed with the county.
Do we have to have a vote on this?
Yeah.
So we have a, any questions? Do we have a roll call?
Commissioner Carlson?
Aye.
Commissioner Pratt?
Aye.
President
Aye. Good explanation, Amendment for resolution 927. We have a motion to discuss this further. It's a motion, any questions after the motion? So basically, we're going to motion on this topic.
So you want, motion to approve the recommendation of the resolution that we, stop the non-monetary part.
That's the motion that Dave's seeking, and then the board can have the conversation.
I make that motion.
Thank you.
First question on motion. Let me start off with just saying this. My position as a board member, or even a resident of Zion, is I want nothing but the best for our employees, in practice, equipment, salary, benefits. They do a very good job and know what to do for residents. So anything we do here as a board, I want to be good at that. It doesn't take away from what our district has offered in the past, but to make it better as we move forward. Board member, I had to be a steward of not just physical finances, but safety and security in other areas. And this is one of them. And it doesn't matter to me which way we go on some topics, like this topic, whether it's are we an armed officers or armed. But we just have to be within the boundaries of the law, and then we decide to what direction we're going to go in. Well, have the arm, then let's make a decision. We're all armed, and there is a large discussion about that, about what it takes for parties to be armed, and certifications from the state, budget issues, and the like. And then there's the president here to be armed to bring everything into focus. And so that's what this is about. So any questions or?
Just to add to that too, so the board understands kind of like the nature of the rangers that we have right now. We only have 3 rangers that are armed, right? So Chief Murphy, and then we have 2 rangers that are Winthrop Harbor full-time officers that work for us special events. So they may work for us, let's say, 4 times a year. They'll do things like 4th of July, tree lighting, things like that. So those are really the 3 individuals that we're talking about, and again, 2 of them are harbor officers that are here 4 times a year. Other than that, we have about 3 rangers on staff right now that are walking around every day patrolling buildings, parks, facilities, and stuff like that. So we're not talking about like Dave was saying, like a fully armed staff that's currently walking around.
What would be the reason for the change?
The reason was it was a mismatch of authority on the staff and what the expectations are. And also where they get their particular legal guidance from. So let's say if we want to go with our staff, let's follow the state standards for legal guidance and see what's required, or not follow it. And so if we're not following it, then it's to be consistent enough to do that with our staff.
You're not saying that we're right now not following standards.
Well, what I'm saying is that this will ensure that we're all one standard and we be on our in this process. But there's no expectation of what the park rangers should be doing that we're not fulfilling based on the mandate that they all are on. That doesn't mean that we can have different events, for example, like 4th of July, think the problem is still we can reach out to community law enforcement agencies like Zion or the Barber to hire law officers.
So, the question is just what has changed, though? Did we read the statute better or just research with comparable districts and they're doing it different? I mean, so you're saying let's make a change. I'm just asking what went into that. I mean, I don't think in the past we were trying to do anything. It's just a better, it's better best practices now to have consistent.
I would say this is more towards the best practice because I think there are some questions as to the way we were operating as a mixture of authorities. And so this standardizes where we start out, where we are, and as a best practices. But like I said, I want the best for the city and be identified as a part of it that does it right, and to be a model that other park districts and say, well, we point to say, that's the way I want to do it.
I just don't want to answer a question you was asking. You know, I mean, sometimes you know we do things because we think they're right or for some other reason. But I mean, and we make an issue of something that isn't. That's on. You're going to say something.
Yeah, well, I was just going to add to when Dave was talking about having armed officers. You know, one of the things I was even brainstorming with Chad was talking about because the two officers that work for us part time as rangers are Winthrop Harbor officers. You know, we could talk to Winthrop Harbor about potentially getting in like an intergovernmental agreement or some type of agreement where when we feel the need for like additional armed officers, we could reach out to the harbor with like a special duty request or you know, as it says in here, advanced request for assistance. We already do that obviously with Zion Police, where we do like a special duty request. And Zion Police are frequently at our larger events, anyways, because you know it's in their jurisdiction and their best interest to be there. But if something were to happen, you know, at another part of the city, you know, they may have to leave. So I mean, I think it still does give us the option, but removes maybe either some of the ambiguity or some of the liability from the park district.
The park rangers and the ones in charge are okay with this. I mean, they've been involved with this discussion. They'd be surprised if we just gave it either.
No, I have talked with Chad a little bit about it.
I mean, I don't have any. I didn't realize they were armed. I'm not paying attention. So
They were or weren't.
did any of them were? No, I just didn't realize that maybe I
Yeah.
haven't interacted with them that much.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always driving a little golf cart when I see these guys.
Yeah, you're not
I mean,
looking next.
so I mean, that's the best. I don't have any. I just didn't know. I thought to myself, what has happened? That was my first thought.
Yeah.
And I think people would ask me that. So you know, the idea that we're just, you know, making it consistent. You know, right? Those make sense. I just didn't know if somebody had a complaint, somebody was concerned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I think it is just, in my mind, just a change in this board from when that policy was implemented 5 or 6 years ago, and now the majority of the board is different. So it was just reevaluating.
I do think that probably evaluate what is the best practice for us to move forward with instead of not follow authorities under the same umbrella. At some point in time in the future, if the board or the partnership wants to move from armed service, so we can discuss that with what our requirements will be. But right now, that's the best practice. I think we're in better shape by being unarmed.
We have to caveat that if we want to, like you said, we can get more. You know, if we had a need.
Yeah.
You know, for a larger event. It's not like this.
No.
It's just the idea that sounds like due diligence has been done.
Yeah, I mean, we would work toward that, right, with another agency, whether it's the Harbor Beach Park, whatever. I mean, we do already work with Lake County Auxiliary Sheriff's side.
Well, I'm glad you brought those up. Good question. What's being close for? Basically, it's kind of the best practice, the best understanding. I think as board members, that's one thing we look at more. We don't look at the daily operational steps that Eric will take with the different departments. But we do look at what is our risk management of some position. So that's what we're trying to look at right closely right now with this motion. So that's the reason my question.
Three questions. One, the Cuban guns since I was a kid. What made you, why do you want to be changed?
It's basically on the wrist liability, based on the authority to do things by one arm. The little barber officers being a different status. Chief may be under a different status as his authority to have a firearm. This to standardize it, and not that we're losing that protection, we will be getting from different areas. So,
But can I just add one thing there, just to going back to when you're saying when you were a kid, they were a park ranger police department. And
Yeah.
when the state of Illinois implemented the Safety Act, they were no longer a police department.
But we changing what?
Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of change in state law, right? I mean, a lot of, yeah.
But we changed it because they could give guns. That's why we changed it.
When?
With two wings. Because they could give guns. Did someone complain? Did someone say something? I'm trying to figure.
actually, it was, I don't know, not that, I don't think anybody's complaining. I think it's sort of just a review of our policies and the way we do it. There's the mixture we had with some armed officers and unarmed officers. I think that would start to lend itself to be somewhat problematic. Because of the mixture of authority. Basically, if you have an emergency, you can't have someone say, I can't respond to that, but just, you can't, you get.
Yeah, and to be honest, just too, if we have a problem, a serious problem like that, our rangers are going to call Zion Police. They're not going to go rushing into, from here to Herman Park.
The requirement for all park rangers to be capable of have knowledge of firearms and be able to have that something as part of the regular training.
No.
So that might say something to it or not.
Right.
And they said that they still do have the tasers. Trained, Chad, chief, trainer for the tasers. And we approved.
The chain
No.
doesn't have a gun now.
Not currently, yes. So that's why I said there's our Chad's one of three.
Okay. My question to you is, how does he feel about the change? In my concern. If you don't like the change, because he did a lot for us
He did.
in the beginning.
I would say in summary, like, he understands it and he's okay with it.
It's actually because Chad gets his authority from a different legal area. And then we have to decide where does that authority come from and is it proper new for purpose. Right now, he understands what's going to change and what will make it. And that's not to say that sometime in the future we don't say who will be tomorrow. But at this time, it's our best interest management to have the best practice of having our lives.
Different future if we go out, we approve this tonight, tomorrow morning, he's not in your office resigning.
I would not expect it. I would not expect it. I would want that, obviously. I want that. Chad's been a tremendous asset to us, not only for what he does on Rangers, but what he also does on the safety side and the derma side and a lot of stuff. So.
Like 6 months down the road, I don't want to see him like, man, I'm done. I don't feel right about this. I'm like,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
If that happens, we gotta come back to this and really think about, okay, that did a lot for us.
For sure.
We need to now focus, put this back on the table and really talk about this.
If Ted has an objection, I don't know that he's objecting now, but he did already by going to have an objection. I mean, someone who's Zoom or yeah, I would like to talk about it, but right
Yes.
now, I'll be honest with you. I think what the park district offers our employees is a pretty good package.
Yeah, I totally understand.
We'll go without the firearm.
I totally understand. But I don't want ever having a problem tomorrow with people like politics. I'm like, can't do that to him.
But I understand all that. And by all means, we all support our employees.
Yes.
That's all of them, because that's the reason they're here, is to make all I've been on top of. I agree that Chad has done that. I don't see this as a front against them. I think this is more in support of them. You know, protecting them, my spouse, and safe this liability.
I'm assuming we're not gonna, do this tomorrow morning. I mean, it makes sense it would be some time, but that makes it look like it's sudden. It looks like somebody's upset. I mean, everything I've ever worked with, if you come out of a meeting and everything has changed or something has changed, they are gonna ask questions. I mean, that's just human nature. So, I mean, is it something we're thinking, not that we're not gonna do it. If you vote to do it, then it's not like it's a time for them to give comment. It's just, so what time were you thinking for this? Was there a certain date?
My understanding will go and pick the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't put it,
Yeah.
don't put it.
I think there is. I would disagree. I think that's.
So you're asking for comment from the employees?
No, not comment. I should have brought that up. No comment. It would just be, we believe this is best practice. We talked about this, and so to pick a date.
I mean, you want to say the new fiscal year, May 1 or something?
Yeah.
Not a lot of time. Somebody did something wrong. If I come on and change the policy, that's everything I go to do.
When you talk about risk management, why are you thinking so many first?
Because you've not given us any great risk. If there was some sword hanging over our head, we've got to do this and we're going to do it quick. If it's not something that we're concerned about, and it's like a pressing need that, oh my goodness, if we don't do it, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't think it's tools. We want to put a day on it.
I won't vote for it.
Could you make first
So, okay.
give everyone 2 weeks? Yeah, people got, if the people got problem with it, you can be like, hey, we got go in a meeting and we talk about this. Nothing was said, they first begins.
And not that would change it. We're not saying anybody has the right to veto. The decision is made by the board.
Yeah.
But just if they have a concern, express that to us, because maybe we didn't consider all sides, but we feel like we have.
Yes.
It's just how you package.
Yes.
There's an amendment to the motion that the resolution take effect on May 1st. No more discussion. Take a roll call on the motion.
Carlson.
Aye.
President.
Aye. And we want to. That should be an executive session for discussing employment compensation, performance or employees. Yes.
Yeah.
Motion.
So moved.
Session for the purpose.
Okay.
All in favor? It's good to see you.